I feel like I found some unique news when it comes to Zebec. And what is that? Not too long ago, when it comes to the Zebec Cards account on X, they did have a new post. And that was a post regarding welcoming a new partnership that they have, which is something called Mixi. Now, why is Mixi, I think, good for its future? Even though I've never heard about it, I like the intention because Mixi is building the capital layer for Web3, and they're aiming to bridge crypto native projects to public markets. So this is, I think, something that is pretty interesting. And again, I've never heard about Mixi, and it is what it is, I suppose. But in my opinion, the intention again when it comes to Zebec is there, and I like this because it showcases that Zebec is a project that is actually focused on, I would assume, the long term. Because if they're focused on the short term, just the medium term, I think they would be probably choose to partner up with athletes or celebrities, like we see some projects to do. And it's like there's nothing necessarily wrong with that because each project is going to have their own, I think, you know, game plan and their own kind of like roadmap for the future. But I just think this is more logical because they're actually building the project, they're actually building the Zebec cards, and I get it. When it comes to their cards, it's not like it's the biggest of all time. There's way more popular cards out there, but in my opinion, again, Zebec, despite not being a big project, they're actually building. Other projects out there, they wait until the hype is like, really massive, like once the market cap goes into the billions or whatever, and then they start doing stuff. But then before that, they just don't really care. But this one, I can see the effort that they put. And I think the team kind of takes this project seriously. You know what I mean? Some projects out there that I see, the team doesn't really take it seriously. Like, I feel like maybe sometimes they treat it like a hobby or something, but this one doesn't feel that way to me. And I think Zebec really is so interesting in my perspective, even though I'm not telling anyone to buy ZBCN, because it's basically XRP and XLM with an aspect of AI, but with a way lower market cap. I mean, that's kind of like a no-brainer for me, because if I believe in XRP and XLM, why would I not believe in a miniature version of that not only has an aspect of AI, but then we also take a look at the Zebec cards, we take a look at, for instance, how it's focused on payrolls, RWAs, right? RWA stands for real world asset. And of course, not to mention global trading finance, the payments market, much like Ripple and Stellar, but I'm just saying, it feels like a miniature version of the market leaders, again, XRP and XLM, but with way more layers to the project and with a way lower market cap. And the thing is, the market cap isn't so low to the point that it feels like a little bit like, something that I really wouldn't want to believe in, because it's not like ZBCN has a market cap of like, 100 grand, 200 grand. It's not like that. It's not a micro cap. Even despite the massive pump that it had and a major pullback, it's still considered as being a pretty massive project. I mean, the market cap is in the hundreds of millions, and it's already established itself as kind of like one of the key players within this space. So it's a no-brainer. Again, the community is already there. The exchange listings are there. The attention was already there, right? Of course, now there's a pullback, but again, at least that gave it a lot of attention. Not too long ago, even, ZBCN was top 10 in terms of utility when it comes to Solana. So the way I take a look at it is that really, when it comes to something like Zebec, why would I not believe in it? Now, that's not financial advice, but I think a major contributing factor as well that could really kind of elevate ZBCN to even greater heights maybe during a fully fledged bull run, I think is going to be the fact that, Zebec has close ties to Solana. And the reason why I think this is amazing is because usually we've seen, historically speaking, let's say when Ethereum pops off, right? Sometimes people don't necessarily just want to believe in Ethereum. Sometimes they take a look at the projects on there and then maybe they get into that. And also we've seen this with the BNB chain, a lot of different projects, right? But I'm just saying, when Solana, hypothetically, if it, let's say, does get attention, I think some of it may flow into something like ZBCN, because don't get me wrong, I really love Solana meme coins. I'm not saying all of them, but I do love some Solana meme coins because I think Solana is such an amazing ecosystem for me. I like it as a layer 1 blockchain. I think it's, very scalable. I think it's fast. I think the transaction fees are not like, ridiculous like what I see with Ethereum. So I just think Solana is really fantastic, at least personally for me, as a layer 1 blockchain. So I think Zebec kind of, again, being like a miniature version of the market leaders, and then it has an aspect of this, so to speak, kind of like, again, not too long ago being top 10 in terms of utility on Solana. It's a no-brainer for me because I like Solana, I like Ripple, I like Stellar. So, naturally, I would assume that, I do like something like ZBCN. Now, with all that in mind, does 10 cents seem crazy? I don't really think so because, of course, nothing I say is financial advice, but many people out there are predicting like meme coins to go to a market cap that is like in the tens of billions. And I don't think like they even have that much attention, right? Sometimes people like to say, oh, something like this random thing is going to do that. And now, granted, hypothetically, some meme coins may do that because, again, the community may be really amazing and all this type of stuff. But then when it comes to ZBCN, reaching the price of 10 cents seems like, relatively speaking, kind of like not such an outlandish thing, if that makes sense, because going to that price, considering current circulating supply, market cap around $8 billion, again, I don't think it's like too crazy, to me at least, around a 23x from here. And in my perspective, anything over a 10x for me is actually very impressive, so I am not going to think that this is bad or anything like that, personally for me. I'm just going to stay patient, but 10 cents really wouldn't surprise me whatsoever. And make sure to subscribe if you gain value from this video. I greatly appreciate it. It's been Lee the Captain, and I'll catch you all on the next one. Peace. Bye.